Alright, can everybody hear me okay? Video coming in, sound coming in? Need make sure everything's set up. If somebody could type in chat that they can hear me, that'd be great. Okay, so we get started here. I changed the link, Andrew, so it'll point to this one instead now. And then hopefully people come over. I don't know what's going on. It created a second event, but it won't let me start the original one. It's making me start this one, so we're here now. Anyway, so this is Morag, a 30-pounder pneumatic flipper. So it's pretty far along in the design, but there's lots and lots to do still. So that's kind of what I'll be going through today. See if I can get my dashboard up here so I can see what you guys are saying. Can you guys hear me now? I've been told audio's not working. Can you hear my voice? Awesome. Okay. So, I guess a little quick overview. So it uses HPA instead of CO2. So it's a little more powerful in that sense because I'm using 900 psi, while CO2 is limited to 700 to 800 depending on the temperature, unless you have a heating sleeve around the tank or something like that. But that's not something I wanted to mess with, and that's one of the reasons I chose HPA here. I won't go too deep into the pneumatics, but you can see there's this giant paintball tank, which I have right here. So this big guy holds 4,500 psi, and then it gets regulated to 900 psi, which is what the rest of the system uses. And I guess the first thing we can fix is there's an extra hole here. So we'll go into that. I need to do a little bit of cleanup in here. It's a little messy. So there's that wedgelet, but that should be a clone of this wedgelet. There, so that should go in there. So another thing this robot's going to have is different configurations. So this is the pretty much anything that isn't a horizontal spinner configuration. So if I fight a horizontal spinner, there's just going to be a big flat plate. But you can see I have the wedgelets here for fighting vertical spinners and wedges and stuff like that. So if we go to this guy and find right out of those holes, see why there's an extra one there. Okay, so we'll just get rid of this guy. All right. So 3 screws, one of the screws goes into this little support, or I guess 6 screws because there's 3 on each side. So then swapping out those 6 screws is hopefully all I need to do to swap out the different configurations and such. So that's looking good. You can see I have some big holes here because this robot is it's currently underweight, but there's a lot of stuff I haven't accounted for, and that will push it over the weight limit. So I'm expecting problems in the future. So I might switch this pattern over to this crossbeam sort of deal. I do like that more. I think it looks cooler. So that's one thing we could do here is get rid of that pattern, add that pattern instead. See what else jumps at me. I also have the spreadsheet in a different tab. You can take a look at that. So you can see the weight is really close, just under 30 pounds, but that's not including these 3 things. So that's going to be a problem. And then these 3 things up here, like the arm strap and the bungee cords that retract it and stuff like that, that all needs to be in here, and that will definitely put me over. So there's definitely some things I need to do to shave a few pounds off. Let's see. Andrew, what software is that? That's Fusion 360? Or if you meant my spreadsheet program, that's just Google Sheets. I prefer using Google Sheets instead of Excel because it's something I can get from anywhere. As long as I have an internet connection to Drive, I can grab it. I don't have to. Oh no, it's on my desk back home. Can't get to it, but it's here, and then it does all the real-time saving and editing that Google Docs does, which is all pretty neat. So I highly recommend using Google Sheets over Excel or Numbers or whatever Apple uses. Then I have a few other things here, like my drive and speed calculations using a 6-cell battery at this wheel diameter with this kV motor at this gear ratio, blah blah blah, gives me a final output speed. And then I'll have a bunch of rows here to mess with different configurations, but I am pretty set on this. This is a Tekin Rock. Might switch to the HD or HQ HD, whichever one version that it's called. And if I have weight for it, actually I think that's the current weight I have set up is the HD version. And then here's the pneumatics, just a lot of math, calculating how many flips I can get, what's the pressure going to be, lots of comparisons and stuff like that. So spreadsheets are definitely your friend when it comes to robot design. Don't forget weight for screws. I think I gained 1.5 pounds in CAD from hardware alone. Yeah, that's another thing. There's a lot of screws in this thing. I have like 10 screws on each wedge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 10 screws on each wedge. So that's going to be a lot, and then the top plates, those all have a million screws too, and then the bottom is going to have a bunch of screws as well to anchor into all the base pieces. Oh, that's another thing we're going to have to fix. That hole didn't line up quite right. But then also, what I need to do is make little tabs that stick out. That way, because when I build this whole thing, it's gonna jigsaw together. So I need little I don't think dovetails is the right word, but little pieces that intersect together. I think that's actually what I want to do to start things off here. So let's open our chassis folder and our wall folder, and then sidewall. And so like I'd like little tabs that stick out here, and then those holes would be in the titanium, so that when I line this up to drill and tap all the pieces together, that'll all be done. So let's edit this original sketch. What is your favorite font? Great question, Nature Box Pet Emporium. That's Chad, I believe. Okay, fonts I have a personal history with. So I work as a front-end developer, software design, mostly front-end, but there's a little bit of back-end stuff, sometimes Android apps and other things like that. But anyway, I do a lot of UI. So my favorite font might be, I can't remember what the thing was called. It's the font I used for my tournament running software. So whatever this font is. Forget the name of it. I should probably know the name of it because it's my favorite font, but Nunito, I'm going to say. That's a Google font you can find. I like that a lot, and then I also like Orbitron. Those are also good fonts. Some of my least favorite fonts would be Times New Roman, because it reminds me of school, and Arial, because that's what we use at work, and it makes everything look like our projects from 2002 instead of 2018. So I like fonts like this where it's kind of rounded, sleek looking. Good question. Someone read the Facebook prompt. All right, so add some tabs here. Might make this a new sketch just because I don't want to mess with everything. Yeah, I'll just make it a new one. So this will be the tab sketch. Actually, no, I do want to make this the original so that the copying and projecting from creating the rails is all done in that initial first step. So I want that to carry over. So yeah, we're editing the first one. So we'll hit S, make some rectangles, and we'll just do, I guess, like 2 for each tab. And that's not going to rotate, so we're going to have to fix that later. And we'll just do 1 for that one. Okay, so the height of these guys are going to be the same height as the top plates, and I have a parameter for that already. If you watch my other live stream, I like to parametric size everything, so parametricing everything. So this would be top plate thickness, top thickness. That should be like 2 millimeters or something like that. And then we want to use the equal constraint so that this height equals this height, and then that height equals this height, and then that height equals this height, and this height equals this height. That way they're all the same. If we change the top plate layer, it'll automatically expand all these tabs, and then we don't have to do any extra work. And that is the goal, is to not put effort or more effort than we have to. So we're going to have a screw here, a screw here, and a screw here. So I think if we take a dimension of this line, just this line, put that there, let it do its thing, and then we'll say the distance from here to here is equal to this dimension divided by like 4, something like that. And then the tab itself, I don't know how big we want to make these, maybe half an inch, quarter an inch, try half an inch. I'm probably going to want to change that later. Then we'll do some more equal parameters, this and that and that, because we want all of our tabs to be the same and editable with just one dimension change. So that's looking good. And then we'll make the distance between these two tabs this same value. And that'll space them out evenly. There we go. So we'll have room for the screw there. The screw in the middle shouldn't hit that. We might tweak it if it does. So we need to get rid of these constraints because those are horizontal vertical constraints, and we don't want that because this is not a horizontal or vertical line that we're attaching to. So yeah, all these need to go. We do want to make sure that these lines are still perpendicular. And then we want this line and this line to be collinear. And then these also need to be perpendicular. And then lastly, these are perpendicular. There we go. And then we'll have to do the same thing with all this. So you and you. Collinear. You and you are perpendicular. You and you are perpendicular. And you are perpendicular. This is kind of a pain. This and this are perpendicular. Okay. So now this dimension, I guess we can use that since it's already there. So from here to here, we're going to do the same thing. It's going to be the total width of this line divided by 4. Same over here. Why is that over constrained? This should be, yeah, I can slide it. Why is it doing that? Not making sense, Fusion. And this will equal this. Okay, I don't know why it was upset about that. Okay, and then one more. Wow, that got pretty messed up. It's one annoying thing about Fusion is that make one little change and your whole thing just spasms out. So everything is perpendicular to everything. Then we're going to want this to be in the middle. So for that, we can just add a point on this line. That little triangle showing up means it's the center. Then we can add a line from the center of this to this, and then making sure that's also perpendicular. This will always make sure that this tab is centered. This height needs to be the same as the other heights. I guess I missed this one. So equals that and that. Come on. You and you. Okay. Oh, so I put the center on the bottom line of the rectangle, not of the frame piece. Put another point there. Then select these two, make them coincidence, and then force these to be perpendicular. Bam. Okay. So that looks about right. We'll stop the sketch. It's going to have to recompute everything. It's going to take a minute. Team Logic 404. Hey, David, congrats on the 100+ subs. Thank you. Feels pretty good. Didn't think 100 people would be interested in seeing my little lame robots. I also saw your tiny crippling depression, a little bit sad, or whatever you called it. I don't know if you're going to make that or if that's just a CAD you're doing, but can't wait to see that come to life if it is going to be a real thing. Anyway, so now we'll go to the extrude that we first do to make this sidewall, because right now it's just picking the original rail piece. It's not extruding the little tabs we added. So we'll make sure these are all also part of it. There we go. Hit OK. Depending on how well I modeled this parametrically, the other wall should automatically have these tabs, and if we're lucky, the rails in the middle will also have these tabs. So we'll see how that goes. Computing. So I'm only using 50% of my RAM right now. I don't know if Fusion has a setting where you limit how much of a heap it's allowed to use. That's something I could extend or turn off. That'd be nice. Alright, so that gives us a lot of errors, a lot of things broke. Let's see how we're looking here though. So I did add the tabs. Let us fix all these errors. And all these fillets that just broke. Oh, that's because the entire side pattern got lost when we did that, which is fine because we're going to replace it anyway. So I'm assuming that's what all these are for. Let's take a look in this. When you start having complex projects like this, I don't know, Fusion just takes forever. Oh well, we can worry about the errors later. So now that the tabs are there, and oh, the rails are gone. That's something we can't ignore. So we'll go to the rails folder here, and okay, this is where all the problems are. So let's go to this first sketch that created the rail. So this was made by projecting the side walls so that they're the same size. And I guess I messed something up because they're not exporting properly. So you can see I have some blue lines. You don't want blue lines in Fusion because that means stuff isn't locked down. And it looks like that's just because this all needs to line up with that. So I think if we make that collinear, that will make things worse. Don't do that. Okay. So we want it like this. Okay, so if we take this point and this point, make those coincidence. If someone could tell me if it's coincident or coincident, that'd be great. So I'm pretty sure I'm saying it wrong. Okay, it looks like the tabs intersect with the extrusion for the top plate here. So that is a bit of a problem. This whole thing isn't closed also. The list goes on. And this also broke. So that needs to be full tab like that. Okay. So that's looking better. They should probably go on to, we'll just leave that since it's happy the way it is. Alright, it's fillet, not fillet. Oh yeah, fillet is the fish thing. I don't know, man. I just program computers. Let's see. It's tempting, but as far as I know, I don't see any nearby fairy weight events for the next 3 to 4 months. Okay, well, ARC in Arizona, we do fairy weights. That'll be like March or April. We don't want it to be too hot, but around that time, we'll have a fairy weight event here. Come on down to Arizona, fight some robots. Okay, stop that sketch, see if that makes things break less. Computing. So that broke the arm. And our rails are still gone, so let's take a look at this. Extrude, because something's obviously, oh, it only rendered that little block there, so we just need to make sure the right faces are selected for the extrusion, and that should fix things. That's not there. Okay, so it looks like when in Fusion, when you have an object selected with this little radio button eyeball thing, it shows you only the actions on that. So when I extruded this, I must have done it, you know, like on the root directory, so it gets lost with all the other millions of features that you add. So if I click on this, maybe I can get lucky and find the extrude that generated it. There's a lot of commands and actions in here. So many errors and fixes. Ugh. Yeah, if you add extra vertices to a mesh, pretty much, it like Fusion just loses it, freaks out. Okay, let's go to where the rail was created. Add the history marker there. And then if we select the main directory again, hopefully it takes us back to the same point in history, in the model history that we can edit. So go to here. Okay, looks like it did. So then the extrude's right next to it. So let's edit that. Okay, so we want this to extrude, we want that to extrude, and that. Okay, great. I just want some tabs, Fusion. That's all I want. All right, and then we'll jump to the current time, because there's steps I did to add the holes here and then all that good stuff. Actually, I guess I shouldn't have the tabs on this side, because this whole rise mount for the weapon kind of acts like a tab for the top plate to mesh around. But I will need them on all the other ones. Come on. 34 warnings and 7 errors. That's way too much. Okay. So we have that in. Let's fix that. Where are my rails? That one. What a hoot. Okay, so we need to add, we need to close that this face here so that this can't extrude. So how are you guys doing? How's life? How's life for you guys? You guys doing robot stuff? You guys get registered for Moto? It's like the deadline is today at midnight or something like that, Pennsylvania time. Okay, so I don't know if it's going to close that because we don't want this whole rectangle there. Same with this one over here. So we had a line, a point, add a point there, add a point there. Okay. Hopefully that's good enough. Slow time's killing me. Andrew, I'm all registered and confirmed, only bringing 2 bots this year. So you're bringing the Sportsman, and I don't know what the other one is you're bringing. What's the other one you're bringing? Fairy. Oh, okay. I can fight you with Gimli. Gimli's looking got all the dumb things. So like Moto last year, Gimli's big problem was that the windings inside the motor, I don't know, I was pulling on them too much and they were either disconnected or stressed or intermittent, but the motor wouldn't spin up. So that was a huge problem. Then I fixed that kind of. But then at RoboGames, the receiver I was using, it was a new receiver, it would unbind itself from the transmitter and then just stop working. So now I have a new receiver, and then I'm going to epoxy the windings as soon as I get the new motor in the mail, and hopefully all the problems go away and that robot can actually function. It's been around for like 2 years and I've never gotten it to work quite as well as I wanted to. It did get 3rd last year, but I would like to get 3rd and have it work right. Okay, so those sealed off. So that means we're good on this stupid rail finally. It had such a disappointing show at SCRC, so it needs redemption. Oh, okay, yeah, I feel ya. That's what I'm going for now. Need to redeem myself. And then also spend a lot of money on a 30-pounder and have it get torn apart by beam or crippling depression or something. That's another thing I'm worried about is Megatron. Megatron just you know, slapping one of these top plates and then destroying my $200 air tank. It'll be really entertaining though. Okay, so we have that rail. The other rail's not showing up though. So let's see why that's going on. Side rail 2, what are you doing? Side rail 2 is a copy of side rail 1, so that makes 0 sense why that one looks like that and this one looks like this. They should be identical to each other. Maybe it's because I have so many errors going on. All the fillets are also, well, those are ahead in the timeline, so it can't be that. And then my top planes aren't working right either. Gee. And the material went away. Like this whole thing just fell apart by adding a few lines. If anyone knows why it magically ruins everything, That'd be great. Well, I guess you wouldn't really know because I have my. You don't know how I built it. I'm not bold enough to run a complex bot and 30 open like you. I don't know if I'm bold or just stupid. So it's very likely it's going to get torn apart, especially after I Swiss cheese it to have it make weight. All right. So how do we want to fix this? I guess we'll look at side rail 2. Is it just getting its reference wrong and then using the cached mesh? Can I edit this? I don't know if you can edit a cut and paste body. You know, it's going to be a perfect copy, so I might as well just kill it now. That's what I'm trying to do with this robot is make it as symmetric as possible. So when it's water jet cut, I don't have to, you know, like the left wall could also be the right wall. That way, I don't need as many spares. Been busy with college, which is why I haven't made any videos, but enough time to repair some insects. Yeah, I've been graduated for about a year, and it's such a great feeling to be done done with school, and then you get all this free time. So hopefully you graduate soon, because I'm looking forward to more content out of you. Let's see. Jonathan is only getting 480p quality. Oh, I don't know if that's just you or if it's my internet connection. But if my stream is poor, that would make sense. I don't know. Is anyone else getting low quality? And you could be the first person to run pneumatics in 30 pounds since Sportsman was invented. I'm sure there's been others before me, but that'd be a fun title to have. Wow, everything's falling apart. So that's, oh, the extrusion is the base plate. Okay, I bet the body was set to, or the extrude was set to join instead of new component or new body or whatever. Let me undo that. Man, this sucks. I'm tempted to just reload what it was before the stream started and just do something else, because I don't think this is that exciting to watch. 4080p, 480p here too. I'm just going to assume that's my internet being poor, because on my stream settings, yeah, it's a 1920 by 1080 being sent out. Let me make sure YouTube's not shrinking it. I don't know how to get to the dashboard. I don't know. Might have to, I don't know. maybe we can check on it and it'll come back. Run a quick speed test in your web browser. Yeah, good idea. Tell me, Google. Okay, yeah, internet's internet is fantastic here. Connection is, at least. Um, Get that loading. Streaming your upload. Oh, and I totally skipped the upload. Try again. Okay, upload's pretty good too. So when I first made this live event, there was a dashboard I could go to and edit everything, But I go to start that, and it made a new video instead of using the one I had made already. And then from the video I'm currently in, I don't know how to get to the dashboard, so I'll have to practice more with my live streaming stuff. So I don't have new component as an option for extruding. That's strange because usually that's an option. Make a new component from an extrude function, extrude command. Yeah, this isn't worth it. I'm just gonna start over. So let's save. Call this failure. That's all this has been so far. Save. It could also be the network, the streaming, and because Fusion's cloud-based. If it's relying on a large data stream, then they could be fighting with each other for my bandwidth. I don't seem to remember having this problem last time I did a live stream with CAD, though. Trying to flash ESCs now, just had a motor go flying across my desk. Great. I guess that means it's working, or it's not working, if it's turning on and shouldn't be. Okay, so let's go to the version of last night. Promote. And then we'll open that up instead. And then just won't worry about the tabs until later. Come on. I only have up to 480p as the highest quality option. Trying to do collaboration. Oh, okay. I don't want a bad stream, of course. Let's see. Okay, back in the dashboard. Okay, so it's saying my stream health is orange instead of green, so that's not good. Okay, I can't make changes. It's not going to let me change the stream settings while, because I don't know, maybe picking a different latency would help or not, but it's not going to let me make those changes while the stream is going, it seems. So I guess that's how we learn. I remember it was green when I first started it. Maybe it's because I didn't have Fusion open. Let me check OBS for anything and just deal with it. 2500 bit rate. I recall that being pretty high, but if that's wrong, you can correct me. No, I'm gonna pause it for like a minute and then change something and then see if that works. So I'll be back in a few seconds.